I can. I see here. Sorry, guys. Let me get the settings straight here. And we want it to look more like that. Yeah. Good. Awesome. Can everybody see me and hear me talking here? We're just getting started here. I'm Vince with Listings to Leads, and this is our class for top tools for more listings. So it looks like everything is looking okay from my side. Let me see if I can get comments here. Nope. I'm not sure where our chat panel is. I'm new to this platform, so let me know if you can. There's a little chat panel there. Let me know if you can hear me. It looks like everything's okay from my side. So let's get the show on the road. Good morning, everybody. I'm Vincent Meza, Listings to Leads, and it's time to talk about how to get more listings with Listings to Leads. There's a lot inside the platform, so I always like to kind of show you a few things right off the bat. If you are a client, let us know. Okay, thanks a lot, Samantha, and thanks, Chelsea. If we scroll down, you see a couple of panels, and I always like to make sure, today we're going to talk about more listings, but there is really a lot of powerful technology in this platform. So I like to give you just an overview. On the left-hand side, we have easy kind of 2-click ads for Facebook, for Instagram, for Google. Great places. Facebook and Google are both great places to get leads for sellers. We have a lot of marketing funnels in the form of landing pages and PDF guides. You actually get 80 PDF guides, but 40 are for home buyers and 40 are for home sellers. And we're going to look at how to use those. And then there's just landing pages like for expireds, for what is your home worth. And then, outside of that, we have single property websites and virtual tours and listing landing pages, just ways to help you market your listings. And then we have just totally separate kind of social media content. So, a lot of agents out there still really not crazy about social media. And we understand that. But we also understand that a lot of people are crazy about social media. So we have free content that you can set and forget. It's growing Instagram accounts. It's also taking Google My Business to page 1 on local real estate searches. So it's wise to turn that on. We also have our own email marketing tools. So good for engaging leads, but also just to take your leads that are in a system somewhere, maybe your CRM or Constant Contact, and engage those people and give them emails that have call to actions built in. So we also have print marketing tools, nearby homeowner letter, just sold postcards, door hangers, a lot of great ways. Print is actually a really great way of getting listings as well. And we have a nice marketing calendar, and we have a lot of call to actions, give you a lot of scripts if you're phone calling, if you want a video script. And then over on the right, we have a lot of ways to convert leads. Some just email campaigns, a really powerful AI text follow-up, and then email tools that you can use as well in your own CRM. So when we log into the system, there's a dashboard. Assuming that you've signed up and get your account ready, and if you're brand new to us, you want to make sure that you signed up and done all the automation and turned on all the social content, stuff like that. But after that, we drop you on the dashboard. And the dashboard kind of gives you, first it's on all leads, and then there's 2 other tabs that says buyer leads and seller leads. And, for the purposes of this call, concentrating on seller leads is really what it's about. And what's great is all of the assets, all of the tools that are there to help you get more listings are actually on this page. So if you go here and you highlight this page, you will find that. And I'll walk you through this, like all the things that are here to help you get listing leads. And I do want to say this before we get started, that there's different quality of listing leads, right? You can run ads on Facebook and get listing leads. You can run ads on Google and get listing leads. You can use print. You can mail things to people with equity. And so you're definitely now dealing with different lead quality. However, you should probably do all of the things we're going to suggest here. And that will help you sort of build a broad marketing campaign at multi levels, right? With print, with email, and with ads. So before I kind of dive into all that, I do want to share with you that if you're not aware, if you go to leadgenwebinars.com, we do live training every day, right? Every weekday, business day. And everything is recorded, including this class. And one of the things that we're seeing right now, and this might sound a little bit different than what you're expecting to hear, is we're seeing that open houses are getting a lot of listings for our clients. And if you want to email me, I can email you the strategy in just a couple paragraphs, but I'll tell you what it is right now. It's basically running ads on Facebook on open houses and early stage listings, like things that are for sale, because a lot of leads that come through are actually homeowners, right? They're just looking at what's going on. But at the same time that you're doing that every week, you're holding a couple of open houses every week. And if you learn about what's going on our open house marketing, it's very robust. It's very powerful. It's not just dropping it in the MLS and waiting for things to happen. It is proactively working your market. And right here, this is where our live classes are. And I think we're doing a live class later today on open house marketing. Where is it? Yeah. I think it's, where did I see it? We've added a few here. Yeah, it's right up here. So that's going to help you, basically, yeah, it's right here. So if you want to sign up for it here, it will be at 5 p.m. Pacific or 8 p.m. Eastern today. And I can tell you every week we've been doing other classes on open houses with other agents, right? And agents that are using the strategy, and they're getting listings and they're getting buyers. So I just want to point that out, that you might not think that open houses could get you listings, but they do. And when you look at how our robust system really works, your open house showcases your talent, your technology, which is really our technology. This is going to help you close more buyers and also get more listings. So let's go back to this page here. So just as a high level, right, we're on generate seller leads. You can create ads to get seller leads. You can market later stage listings to get seller leads. You have landing pages already created for you, and you can create more to get seller leads. And there are 40 PDF guides to get you seller leads. Okay. Now I'm going to show you how to use all that and how to get to those. But let's start at the top and the easiest, right? Which is a Facebook ad. And a Facebook ad, it's kind of, the way that if you haven't run an ad on our platform before, we actually have Facebook software embedded in the platform. And there are a few different kinds of ads that will actually capture seller leads. What's awesome about Facebook ads is it's easy to do. And it's also low cost leads. And, it kind of happens in a week. So, we really recommend that if you are trying to build a database of people who are interested in selling your home. And as you see, when I clicked on that, you can create a listing ad, you can create a landing page ad, and a PDF guide ad. And remember, all three of these ads will get you listing leads. Let's start with the first one, which is just sold. So if you have a sold property, you want to leave it on lead ads. Lead ads means that when the person clicks the ad, they're giving you their name, email, and phone number that was pulled in automatically from their profile. Okay. And we're seeing like a 75 to 80% accuracy on that. So we see over here on the right-hand side, an ad, right? A home. And when somebody clicks on that, this little form pops up and it says, would you like that information? And their name, email, and phone number are looking right at them. And it's pulled automatically from the profile. So nobody's typing anything in. And there's one button that says, yes, submit my info. And so when you run an ad with Facebook with our software, the way I'm showing you right now, they're going to see a form and they're going to click that and they know they're giving you the information. Okay. I'm going to just go over here, not because you need to do this, but so that you understand what I just explained, which is when they click that ad, they see this form. And it says what's your time frame to sell, and there's a few options there. And then it says what's your contact information. And instead of next, it says yes, submit my info. And then it gives them kind of some privacy stuff and things like that. And just as a FYI, when you're capturing these leads with phone numbers, they're consenting to being called even if they're not on a do not call list. Okay. So when you're running ads here and they are going through the effort of giving you the information because they want that information, they've taken themselves, they haven't taken themselves off the do not call list, but they have given you permission to call them. Don't actually recommend you call them automatically. I definitely recommend that you text them. We actually have our own AI text follow-up. You certainly want to call them, but you also want to text them because a lot of people don't want to talk to you if they don't know who you are. So by texting with a few questions or answers, waiting for the answers, you're going to get, I think, a lot further. Now, all we've done here is we really clicked one button and we created this ad. And this, for many clients, can work really easily, right? They just, boom, create, let me turn off the advanced options. They don't change anything. They just create the ad, right? And they are getting leads from this simple activity. I was talking to a realtor last week and he wanted to run an ad like this. And I said, well, let me ask you, how many, did you get multiple offers? And he said, yeah. I said, I got 5 offers. I said, well, you need to add that in the ad. And I said, how quickly did you get it in contract? And I think he said, in contract in 2 weeks. And this, what I'm typing here in the box, if you can see that, is actually a very big, it makes the ad work better in contract in 2 weeks. And he also sold it for $40K above asking. I said, you have to add these elements. People who own a home are going to see that you can do it effectively. And if you're in this kind of position, you definitely want to be putting that kind of text in there. Some of our clients don't go through what I just showed you. They just do it and they get seller leads. Here's the thing I want to point out. When you run it out on Facebook, there's a cost per lead that's set by Facebook, and it's dynamic. It moves all the time. It's different from day and night. And I'm not quite sure how it happens. What sets the price? But what I do know is it's almost never the same. But we do have averages because thousands of ads are being run through our platform every month. And we can tell that this kind of ad right here, this lead, will cost you probably on average $7 each. So if you divide 7 into 50, which is the budget up here, you can expect 7 leads, right? 49. I see a question here. What's the biggest difference between running it on Facebook versus going through listings to leads? Yeah, that's the big, you answered it. I've been doing ads through Facebook alone with no lead generation. That's the big difference. See, I don't know if you can recognize it here, but we actually have Facebook's ads software embedded in the platform. And our clients are only realtors. They're only in real estate. And so every box that you needed to check when you were running an ad inside of Facebook, and there are a lot of boxes, and those boxes and those options, they change. They change the names. And so if you knew what was going on a month ago, you may not know what's going on this month. And that's why you want to be using our software. You're actually connecting to your own Facebook account. So if your Facebook is called Chelsea, the Rockstar Realtor, it's going to say sponsored by you, and it's going to charge your credit card on your business page. But we have checked all the boxes that you needed to check in order to make this a compliant ad and an effective ad to get name, email, and phone number. There are many options on Facebook, and getting name, email, and phone number is only one, and most agents don't know how to do that. That's why they love running ads here, and that's why a lot of agents are running 2 and 3 and 5 ads every week, because they are getting a good volume of leads every week. And when you have a high number of leads, you have more chances of converting, basically. So what we've done here is just a just sold ad. And even, let's say you're helping somebody buy the home, right? So what's going to close, as long as your MLS rules, allow, you can actually enter the listing into your account and run an ad when it's sold. You're still going to get seller leads, and those leads are going to go back to you and you only. Okay. So another thing to do regarding kind of listing ads is also running an ad on a home that is pending or under contract, or one of those later stage statuses, right? And the thing is, I mentioned that on average, the cost of a just sold lead is $7. Well, we have seen sometimes when people create a listing ad on a home that is under contract or pending, we've seen those leads come in at like $3.84. We've also seen them come in at $5 and $7, something closer to the sold cost, but it's the exact same thing. And let me just show you, I think one big difference, Chelsea, you were asking what's the difference, is when you write the ad on Facebook, you have to write the content and you have to make sure that it looks right. This particular template right here, the most effective one we have. We've analyzed our ads. We can tell that this gets the most clicks. And this language here, we're auto-populating kind of dynamically from your listing. So like I showed you in the other one, you can kind of customize a little bit, but really it's kind of pre-written. And this one says it's under contract, it's going to close soon, it's going to affect your home value. Click here for your home value. Real simple, right? The point is, this kind of lead can actually cost less than a just sold lead. Okay, so let's go back and let's look at what other kind of ads we can run. Before we go into the landing page ad, which is the one that a lot of people want to do, I want to show you the PDF guides, okay? Because the PDF guides, you may not know this, to the wizard, you put your headshot, you put your logo, you put your colors for your branding, and then boom, we've set up 80 PDF guides, right? And you might want to, here's one here, seller negotiation secrets. Okay, well, let's create an ad. If you go this way, you'll actually be pointed to all of the seller PDF guides, right? And so, you can choose the one that you want. 12 mistakes to avoid. That one tends to work. So let's click create ad. And we want lead ads because we like our leads pre-populated from the profile. So we get name, email, and phone number. And when you click this, again, we write the ad. We check the boxes that you needed to do correctly. Now, there is something that you do have to do here, and that is type in the name of the city that you want to target, right? And I'm going to put this one here, $50 ad, but I want to point out these leads on average cost $10, even $11 each on average, right? And they can be even more, but that's the average cost. So this will get you a seller lead with name, email, and phone number. So a just sold ad, but they'll be cheaper leads. And so will a pending or under contract ad, and they could possibly be even cheaper. It's worth testing all these things. And when somebody responds to this ad, they click on it, they give you their information, they can download that report immediately, and you are branded on every page. Okay. So PDF guides can be effective, just a little more pricier, right? But if you don't have listings in your account at that moment, that might be an effective way to do it. So I want to talk about landing pages, and I'm going to start with one that agents like to do, and it's not the most effective way of doing it, right? And I want to spell out what this is a learning part, because not because I want you to do this, but I want you to understand how Facebook works, right? And how our software works and what you can do to maximize your results. And but let's just, we'll go look at it. So we're going to landing pages now. And one of the most popular landing pages is called free home values. Okay. And we'll see it here. It'll populate at the top of this page here in just a second. And it is an instant home value. You land on that page and you can type in your address and you can drop in your email and get it, boom, instant home value. Okay. And I want to point it out that this is it right here. And I'll click on this one to show it to you. It's just, you might have seen, there are other companies that have had these kinds of landing pages for well over 10 years now. And this is part of your account. I do want to point out that if that neighborhood doesn't look like your landing page, make sure and click the edit pencil on that, which is right here, and change that to some image that looks like your market, right? Most agents don't do that. They just go, oh, I recognize that. I'm going to run an ad on that. Okay. And let me show you what they're doing. they click on what, as soon as they click market, there's a lot of ways to market. And Facebook and Instagram is the first thing that you're dropped on. And you remember how I said this kind of landing page has been in the market for a number of years? Facebook knows it's popular, right? They know realtors like it. And so they charge the most for these leads. So I'm going to type in Walnut Creek. And just like I was doing on the other ones, right? Now it's a $50 budget for 7 days. Here's the thing. These leads on average cost $12 to $15 each. So if you run this kind of ad, it's going to be, you're going to get 3 leads with name, email, and phone number. You know that the other ones are kind of less expensive. So this is kind of an important thing to know. Also, and a lot of agents do this, and they send traffic. They send it here. This page probably doesn't. I've actually spoken to people. It doesn't even look like their market, but they're lobbing it out there, and people are clicking on it. And then they stop because the first question is, what's your address? And you type that in. And the second question is, great, we have your value. What is your email address? And people would rather leave. They'd rather leave than even give you that. Okay. However, if you had just dropped this down to a lead ad, you know what that means, right? When they click on that ad, their name, email, and phone number pops up. And once they give that to you, then we give them the link and like, hey, drop your address here. Okay. So let's see if we can see that. I know we made some changes. Let's see if we can see that. So what's your time frame to sell? And then give us your information, which is already pre-populated, and then privacy, and then great, click the button below and enter your address. And at that point, you have their name, phone number, and email and address. That's a better way to do it. And what's even better is when you create a landing page that speaks to your particular farm market instead of like generic, what is your home worth? So let's talk about how you can do that. When you go to your landing page section, we've already created a number of them. They're waiting in your account, but you can create your own. You see, I have one here for Oakland, for Walnut Creek, Release Valley. I've even got some for like neighboring towns like Pleasant Hill. You get unlimited landing pages. You go here, you click create landing page, and our Property Valuation Plus is the instant home value page. So you click there and you type in the name of your town. You can even do like a name of a development or neighborhood, right? It gets harder to target, but you can create that landing page and you have other ways to target, like with print and email and things like that. However, you can create that, and then I have one here for San Antonio. So it's very simple, right? Did I hit the right one? Oh, this one's Oakland. So this is Jack London Square, but same thing. You click on the landing page that you already created. And there are a lot of different landing pages you can create, but this is the one that most agents want. And you want to make sure that you are using lead ads, right? So that you're getting name, email, and phone number, and then you create the ad. And if you want to make this ad work a little bit better, you can type in like how many homes sold, right? Recent homes sold. Well, that's kind of a general concept, but you can say, 40 homes sold, right? Whatever the real number is. And the high was here. This is all affecting your home value. Click here for your home value. That's a way to make this ad work better. I just want to remind you that this is one of the most expensive leads on Facebook. Okay. So let's go out of that and let's talk about the number one way of getting listing leads that turn into listing contracts. And so we talked about Facebook, and Facebook is great. It's efficient, it's easy, and now you know the right way to do it, right? But the most effective leads for getting a listing actually come from a piece of paper. So every time you have a listing, you can click on Market Listing, and you will see a whole bunch of tools that you can use, right? But the most important one for this discussion is the Nearby Homeowner Letter, okay? And people have learned that if they mail this to people with equity, that they will get, high quality leads. Not a lot of leads, but high quality leads. So let's look at that. This is a company called Express Copy, and they actually are an integrated printer. So if you have an account with them, you can connect it and it'll say print and mail. And let me show you how easy this is. First of all, the letter looks like this, right? It's like, we just sold something in your neighborhood. Go here and go become a lead. You'll become a seller lead. But then that affected your home value. Go here to get your free home value. So this is not electronic, right? We're just mailing something to them, and they can walk it to their own computer and, type in that address, type in their address. And when they give you their email, not many people are doing that, right? And that's why you don't get a lot of leads, but these are people that are very serious, right? It's different when you think about Facebook. People are looking at what their friends are doing. They're looking at cats or food or whatever, vacation spots. But they didn't go to Facebook with a question about their home value. You just sort of lobbed something up there and it piqued their interest. Here, you're mailing something to somebody, and you can choose right here, I want a 1 or 2 or 3 mile radius. They only mail to people who own single family homes for more than 6 years. So this is a powerful letter, simple to read. You just click that button and they're going to fold it and mail it. We were really excited when we found this printer, because this is our most effective tool for getting listing leads. But, how do you get it there? And these guys can do it in just a couple clicks. So definitely that's worth knowing. I do want to point out, however, that our clients, we've got clients for many years, they don't all use that. This is Pat Motley, and she prints out 100 every time she has something just listed, and another 100 when she sells a home. But she does it completely different, right? She does not use express copy. She prints out the 100 just like this. This came out of our system. She flips it over. She flips over the 100, and she uses Microsoft Publisher to print on the back of the letter. And then she hand folds them and hand writes these addresses, and then puts a little like moon sticky to close it, right? A little white circular tape. Why in the world would she do that when you can do it in 2 clicks? The reason why is that on the first batch of 100, 4 owners called her for their home value. On this batch, which was the sold batch, another 4 people called her and they all wanted to sell their homes. That's 8 people from 1 home and 200 pieces of mail. Pat Motley has been in our mastermind group talking about this letter year after year. It's worth looking at. And she was so kind to share right here the template to make that. So if you want to do that sort of thing, which I definitely recommend, you got resources right in the mastermind group. Now, I will say this, and I mentioned it a minute ago. We have an easy way to do it, right? We can use express copy. I don't know if you're going to get 8 listings from 200 pieces of mail. That would be a pretty big reach. But that is the nearby homeowner letter, and that's something that you definitely want to be, using. And another thing is, let's say that you have like a farm market. How do you get a print page? You go to listings. Let's click the back button, and you click on market listings. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more about this letter. There are a lot of people who want to build out a farm, right? An area that they don't actually have listings in, right? And they can borrow those listings by using this button here that says grab listing. And they can type in the zip code and the MLS ID, and it'll pull in that listing. And then all these tools are created. And I'm going to show you the tool. You click on any market listing button on your listings page, and that is called the nearby homeowner letter. We actually had a client, an agent, just a few months ago. She was holding an open house for somebody. It wasn't her listing, but there was an open house, and she was going to sit there. So she pulled the listing in. She printed 50 of these and walked the neighborhood prior to the open house and gets her own listing from this piece of paper. A lot of agents will borrow listings in a farm market that they want listings, but they don't have their own. So now they can market and say, hey, I've got a home for sale or sold in that market. They can mail this kind of letter out to that group. I want to show you one more thing, and this kind of to that discussion of having, using borrowed listings to create listings, right? This is another guy named Chris Winstead in our mastermind group. And Chris has a really interesting story, because what I'm going to show you is something that he had done when he moved to San Antonio, Texas, right? And he says, hey, I've been farming my neighborhood, my own neighborhood, for 3 months and got 5 deals. Okay. That's pretty good, right? And what he does is he does create these videos, which are pretty compelling, and he kind of runs ads on those. But let me tell you, he had moved from I don't know what state to San Antonio, Texas with his wife and kids. And they wanted to be by their family, right? They wanted her family is over there. So they wanted to be there. So he was a realtor, but he didn't have any name recognition in his neighborhood. And he bought a home in a nice place. He's like, I want to own this neighborhood, right? And so what does he do? He goes and buys a list of homeowners with 5 years equity from Remind.com. And we definitely recommend that for farm purposes, right? So he runs that ad like this, and then he buys that list from Remind. It's taking a second to pull up here. And he mails that list every 2 weeks, not the whole list because there's a lot of people, but he mails the nearby homeowner letter every 2 weeks to people on that list. And once they fill out that home valuation page, he contacts them every week with phone calls, bomb messages, letters via mail, and letters left at the door. The letters left at the door, by the way, are the PDF guides. He just prints up a PDF guide. He paper clips his business card, puts it in an envelope, and leaves it at the door. Okay, so he's mailing them, he's emailing them, he's calling them, and of course he's sending and he's dropping off letters at their house. So he's really proactively hitting those leads because not everybody is going to do that. Not everybody's going to fill that take that piece of paper out of their mailbox, walk to their own computer, type in that address, and give you their address. That's why it's so important. And Jerry here is asking a good question. Don't you have to get other agents, sellers permissions to use those listings? You typically got to get the agent's permission to do that. Yes. You always want to check this. What I'm showing is technically how do you do it. You all have your own office and LS rules you need to be aware of, right? And pay attention to those. Now, this home is sold, and I want to show you an easy way. A lot of agents like to mail sold postcards. And I want to point out that our postcards have your branding, but they also have call to actions. There's a URL at the top of this, and there's a QR code at the front. You can actually, both of those destinations are going to capture them as a seller lead, okay? And also, on the back, it says your home value has been affected and go here to get your instant home value. So the front and the back of our postcards, whether you're using our printer like Express Copy, or you have your own printer, or you want to use Every Door Direct, we have options for you. And that is really key. I see a lot of postcards going out. I receive them and they really have beautiful pictures on it. And they're asking people to call realtors. And people would much rather gather information for free. And that's what our stuff is doing, right? So definitely use that when you're thinking about that. Now, another thing I want to point out is we have here, it's called Share on Seller Social Media. We email this tool to you and it's often ignored. And I think because, we're reading it to you, you've not seen stuff like this. But we're telling you, we email any listing you have, whether it's just listed or open house or under contract or pending or sold, we're going to email you something that is speaking to that point of that status. And it's going to say that you are the homeowner's realtor. Okay. In this case, it's sold, right? And this is by default what this thing looks like. It says our home is sold and we want to recommend you at your office for doing an excellent job. You can help them, you can help them, you, the agent, can help them, in real estate. And here is your phone number and email in front of all my friends and family and colleagues on Facebook. Right? It's just sitting there. If somebody is interested and they click on this and the property is sold, it's going to land on this property page that will also capture them as a seller lead, right? And this is a lot nicer than capturing a random internet lead, right? This is actually somebody that works with your current, that knows your current client. So you're more likely going to be able to, convert that. And the funny thing about this tool, our clients who use it, they'll come in the mastermind group like months after they shared this. And they say, I'm getting listing leads and I don't know how, right? And we say, well, have you been using this? And they're like, yes. And while your client may have put it on this week, their cousin or brother or whoever may log in 1 or 2 months later, and that actually is happening. Like months later, somebody will log in and go, oh, so and so sold their home, and you are their agent. Okay, well, I'm interested. I'm just going to click it and become a seller lead. That is free. If you know anything about Facebook ads, they disappear in 7 days. These do not disappear. It's basically a testimonial that we have pre-written for you, emailed to you. You just need to forward it to your client and ask them to share it on their wall. We already auto post things to your wall, and now you can run ads to advertise that. But if you want leads from your current client sphere of influence, definitely don't overlook this tool. Okay. So those are kind of the things you can do to leverage your listings to get more listings. Nearby homeowner letter, just sold ads, and the e-flyer, or just sold postcards. I want to go back over here to the landing pages because there's something I don't, there are a lot of coaches out there in real estate. And one of them I know of is named Amanda Albright. Does anybody here know that lady? She sends clients to us every month for many years. And she says, hey, I have this home value page that I created for my area. And I use that. I think she says she even embeds it on her website, which you can do. We give you the embed code right here. So if you want to have a landing page on your website, you create the landing page, you put the picture that you want, and then you grab this embed code. It's a little bit of like HTML, right? Nothing too complicated. But actually, the number one thing that everybody keeps signing up for is this. It's a QR code that's dynamically, automatically created to drive people to that page. And she says, she tells these agents that every year I'm sending mailings out. I do print mailing, right? And on everything I do, it says, scan this for your free home value. Scan that QR code. And that QR code is on every piece of print mail that she does. And that's very consistent, right? And she says, now I just have seller leads coming in because, over the years, I've mailed so many things out. And some people who are thinking about selling in the future, they kind of hold on to those things. And that worked really, really well. You might want to do that if you have a print campaign. I was talking to somebody yesterday who I think in Constant Contact, he does like a monthly newsletter. And I looked at it and I said, you need to put this QR code there and say, scan here for your home value. Because that's some good metrics, some good data. But, like most real estate advertising, it's like, here's my email and phone number. Call me whenever you need help. Whereas we are, hey, you want some answers right now? Just share your contact information, right? So we've talked about, and let's go back. We've talked about, I want to kind of point out a couple of things. We talked about PDF guides, we talked about ads, and we talked about landing pages, right? While we've talked a lot about Facebook, and definitely we recommend that, there are other ways of using PDF guides and landing pages. We give you ad software for Google. You can run an ad on Google in 2 clicks, just like you did on Facebook. Here's the thing about that, right? When we talk about Facebook, and we are definitely very excited about that, Facebook is the number 3 website in the country, okay? Number 3, and that's awesome. And people adults spend like 40 minutes a day there. But the number 1 website in the country is Google, okay? And 86% of all questions on the internet are asked on this page. So if you are trying to get, if somebody types in, how do I sell my home? What's my commission when I sell a home? What are taxes? What about probate? Any real estate related questions, when you're running an ad and getting on page 1 at Google, that is called a high intent ad or high intent lead, right? When you ran an ad on Facebook and people were looking at what their friends were doing over the weekend, well, they didn't have a high intent. They didn't go to Facebook to find out what their home value was. You just happened to put it there at the right time when they were on the platform. Okay. So Google, they went with a question, they saw your answer, and they're like, yeah, that's the answer I want. And they give you their information. High quality leads. Okay. More expensive leads. If you run an ad on a landing page, remember I showed you how to create an instant home valuation landing page. Those leads, I know just from speaking to people, like in Dallas, Texas, if you created a landing page, like what is your Dallas home worth? And you ran an ad, like you see, I have one here for San Antonio. That lead would cost $30 each. You remember that I was actually a totally different value prop, right? Those people went to Google with a question. They liked your answer. That is a high quality lead, and it costs more, right? And that's Dallas, right? There's a lot of competition, a lot of agents in Dallas. The cost is higher. But it's, for a lot of people, it is worth that higher cost. And by the way, in Pennsylvania, it's 22. In Salt Lake City, I think it's $17. And even somebody told me these are $10 leads. And based on your commission of selling a home, you kind of want to do the math. What do I need to invest to get a listing to earn X thousands of dollars, right? Sometimes Google is awesome, and it's just as easy to run a Google ad as it is a Facebook ad. You would connect to your Google account, and you'd point either to a landing page or any of the PDF guides. Remember, I showed you the PDF guides a few minutes ago. There's somebody this year in the mastermind group. Not everybody does PDF guides because most people focus on listings. But he just took this one that I was showing you earlier, 12 mistakes to avoid, ran an ad on Google, one ad, and somebody filled it out. It was this one right here, and converts it into a listing, right? There are 40 different topics for homeowners that you can run ads on. And there are also different, landing pages. There's a landing page for FSBOs and expireds. There's a lot of expireds that are going on in the market. And those poor people, how many agents are calling those people, right? Like, hey, I saw this expired. Let's talk. Let's get it sold, right? Well, you could actually say, I'm going to send them something. Maybe they don't want my phone call right now. Let's just get a dialogue going. We actually you can create an expired landing page for every one of your farm markets, like Walnut Creek or something like that, right? And it just asks some simple questions, and they can fill it out and they can get a review. And that starts, it's a good way of starting the dialogue. Also, we have FSBO landing pages. Now, I do want to point out, not everybody in the world is a FSBO, right? It's not everybody's doing this. However, an average FSBO will give their listing to a realtor in 2 months. Okay. So if you have this and you're emailing it to them, say, hey, would you like some free tools? Would you like a virtual tour? Would you like some social media tools? Would you like e-flyers, right? Yes, I want these. But what's your contact information? When they send that to you, that opens the door for you to start a dialogue. Hey, can I get some photos of these? By the way, if I find a buyer for you, you pay me on that? And the reason realtors go through this effort is because homeowners tire of this process. They don't want to deal with all these people. And they finally just say, yeah, you've been giving me free marketing tools. Why don't you list this home for me? That's why people go through all this work. Now, what we've talked about are a lot of ways of capturing seller leads, right? Print, email tools, ads on Facebook, ads on Google. I do want to share with you something of what do you do when you have a listing, when you have a lead and somebody actually wants to talk to you, right? And so I want to show you a couple of cool new things, and then let me know if you have questions. Jerry has a good question. Will they expect you to pay for the virtual tour? Well, Jerry, when they respond, let's say they respond to that, and you say, okay, let me get some photos of your home, because you're going to once you put those photos in here and you create a listing, because this is where you're going to get the tools, Jerry. You're going to add the listing manually, and you're going to put in whatever, the details, the square footage of bedrooms, You're going to put in those photos, and we're going to auto generate a pan and zoom virtual tour. And it's going to be sitting there. We're going to email it to you. You send it to that person. Say, hey, here you go. Right. That's what it's all created automatically. Right. When you enter a listing manually, we click on market listings. All these tools are created. Right. You can run an ad on Facebook right there. You can get the nearby homeowner letter. Right. So even if you're working with a FSBO and you want listings in that neighborhood, use the nearby homeowner letter and just print it and walk it around, right? But the virtual tour is auto-generated right here, okay? And you can give them the luxury version or the default lead gen version. There are flyers, all of these things are auto-generated. You do not have to worry about that, okay? So, working that way is useful. I don't recommend, kind of marketing on Facebook with FSBOs because not, I don't know what the exact number is, but not 50% of all listings are FSBOs. It might be less than 5%, right? So you kind of want to find that list. I know companies like MyPlusLeads might have that. You can use that kind of list to target the right kind of people. When you do an ad in Facebook, it's like, your town and a 15-mile radius. Thousands of people will see this, but they're not all FSBOs. So it's just not the wisest thing to be using Facebook for that. Sometimes print or email, if you have their email address, you can take a tool and send that there. So I wanted to show you this. It's on the listings page. And if you're new to us, or if you don't know about it, you need to know about this. Everybody has this tab in their listings account. It's called Listing Presentation. And we actually have a print version. We call it Property Marketing Plan here. And we have a flipbook version, which is an electronic version. And if you're going to go on a listing presentation, you should be presenting this. I'm working with an agent over in Florida, and he just got 2 incredible listings. And he said that they were working with somebody from Sotheby's and somebody from Better Homes. And they didn't like what they were doing, and they fired those realtors. And this guy came in and showed him this. And the man's reason was like, they are not doing anything to sell my home. Okay. And I helped this agent. I said, I'll tell you what, instead of going in here and manually grabbing a listing, manually create the listing for this homeowner. Okay. And put in, well, I'm going to show you right now what to do. Put it in as a listing presentation. So we're not going to advertise it all over the internet, right? Put in their home, their name, their phone number, their address, and put in a headline like beautiful home, waterfront home in Florida, whatever. Add a couple of things, and I told him, get one photograph of this home, like one cool. He goes, I have this cool photograph. It's their dock, and it was actually a pretty cool photo. It looked kind of like a Robinson Crusoe kind of dock, it was nice. Anyway, when you create this listing presentation for a particular listing, the listing presentation that I showed you before, that's a generic one. You just have it in your account. Here, it is adapted and showing their home, right? So instead of having, just our generic photos of homes, you're going to see photos of that person's home. And so when you're speaking to that listing presentation, they're looking at, like, you can say, well, this is what my home, when I market your home, I market it with email, I market it with ads, I create a virtual tour, I create a single property website. And while they're looking at it, they're looking at their home, right? They're not looking at just a generic thing. It's like, this is what it looks like on Facebook when I do stuff, when I share it for free, when I run ads. This is what my virtual tour looks like on YouTube. Jerry, you may not know this. We actually create that virtual tour I was talking about, and we auto post it to YouTube. This does not say that Listings to Leads is doing it. It says you're doing it, right? The nearby homeowner. It talks about all the print marketing that we're automatically doing for you, and some of the tools, so you want to read this a couple times yourself to get this listing presentation down, and you want to present this because literally, and this right here. Remember, I just told you an agent he actually closed 2 listings. This gentleman had 2 listings in Florida, but it was the big one he wanted because like $3+ million. And he said, this is what won it right here. And I told him, when you get to this page, tell the homeowner to scan that QR code. It's going to pop up a link and have them click on that link. And they're going to be looking at a mobile optimized website on their phone. And that man had pulled his listing from somebody else, the homeowner, because he didn't feel like anybody was really marketing this. They put it in the MLS and that was it. And this guy came in and the homeowner, I know, because I'm actually talking to the realtor today. He's like, I want that QR code. I want a sign writer with that QR code. That's what he wants, because that man understood that technology. Now, if you keep going through this, we talk about more of our marketing and stuff like that. And you should be familiar with this, right? You should check it out yourself. When you go into your account, it is the generic listing presentation is sitting on the listings presentation page. I'm showing you the one specifically for a listing. So what we really want to hear from you is you're using some of these techniques that I'm showing you and capturing listing leads. And then you're using this to convert them. Now, speaking of conversion, I want to share this with you. And I wonder if I can. Yeah, no, I can't. On the leads page, we actually have our own AI text follow-up. Okay, I don't know. Is anybody here using our AI text follow-up? AI text follow-up, it's literally AI. We found this company and we launched this last October. Okay. And what it does is if you're using Facebook ads and you're getting leads with phone numbers, it just immediately starts asking very simple questions about, hey, you're a buyer, this question, that question. You're a seller, this question, that. And it says, hey, I am Jerry's assistant, right? And it asks these questions. And right now, we're in June of 2025. It's converting 10% of our leads to a phone call. And I'm pretty sure most of you are comfortable on the phone telling people what value you bring to the table, right? It's getting a lead, an online lead, to a phone call. That is a trick. Our AI software is doing that. So you can always sign up for that. If you want to talk about that, you can reach me at Vince@Listings2Leads. I can tell you, how to position that, how to think about that, how to build out your budget, all that. Another thing that we have that I definitely recommend is our email follow-up. So if you click on follow-ups, like most of you, I hope, have a drip campaign, from your own CRM. But even those drip campaigns, they're not actually that effective. I mean, you got to ask yourself, is your drip campaign getting your phone to ring? Is it actually closing business? Because if it's not, I recommend that you go turn these on, because we have a high open rate, actually higher than most of the largest CRMs out there. And I know from just speaking to people, it's closing appointments. And the reason it is closing appointments is, you remember all those cool PDF guides I was showing you and the landing pages? We auto embed them every other message. So these drip campaigns have a lot more value than the canned drip campaigns you're getting out of some really the leading CRMs. So I definitely, capturing leads, we know how to capture leads. We know how to capture leads from Facebook, from Google, from email, and from print. But converting leads is a whole nother animal. Our AI text follow-up is awesome in this, converting 10% of our leads with phone numbers to phone calls. And these drip campaigns, I'm pretty sure I can say, are stronger than yours. You want to A/B test these. Jerry has another question. Virtual question was for the FSBO. Yeah. Or would you say, I can give you the name? No. So you might be thinking, of a video virtual tour, right? Like a cameraman walking through the house. We're doing a pan and zoom. We take the still images, and we do this automatically. When you have your listing come in from the MLS, it might come in with 20 or 30 photos. We take those and we pan and zoom, and we make a virtual tour, and we deliver that virtual tour to you via email, and we auto upload it to YouTube automatically. When you're working with a FSBO, just ask that homeowner for pictures of their home, or say, well, I'll shoot the photos, or you'll get a photographer, right? But you need photos to create a pan and zoom, right? Our CRM, Brenda, that I'm using, our drip campaigns that we're looking at here, this is free part of our system. Our AI text follow-up, it's based on how many leads, and I would focus on Facebook leads. How many leads do you plan to generate once a month? And you should, our strategy, I started the first part of the call talking about a broader strategy of using open house marketing with 2 to 3 Facebook ads every week. That is a winning combination, getting listings and getting buyers. So when you do that, and you heard me talk about the price per lead here, you kind of want to figure out, I want a budget to get 100 leads. And whatever kind of ads you're going to run, you can now kind of, pencil that budget, because we talked about lead costs. You can always reach out to me. I'm Vince at Listings to Leads if you want to set up a call. I'll put my email here in the thing here, in the chat panel. And let's see here. But basically, it is converting it. So if you're targeting 100 new leads a month, the cost of the AI would be $100 a month to work on those. And it immediately works on any new leads. Okay. And when they're ready to talk, because 2 things happen. They say no, thank you, or they don't respond, or they say, you know what, I've answered enough questions, I'd like to book a phone call. We send that to you. We send that whole text of the conversation to you and say they're ready for a call. So you book it from there, right? What I've sent you here is my email for those of you looking at the chat panel. If you want to talk about AI, if you want to talk about, if you need a team account or a broker account, I'm the guy to talk to. But if you have questions about what we're talking about here, just let me know. And let me see if I missed anything. So the AI only has a cost, Brenda. The emails, that's part of the system. And yeah, you need an AI text cam. You just turn it on. You go over to leads cam. You go to leads, the leads tab over there. I can't click on it because I have leads there, and that gets our videos all flagged. And then right at the top of the leads page, it says AI text follow-up, and you can sign up for it there. And then that's where it'll actually show you some of the conversations, but it will also say what size package of leads do you want to work, right? And if you're interested in this broader open house story, I can share with you. I actually have an email, and I'm going to tell you the story. And then if you have any more questions, let me know. This is just one group, and it's a broker and 4 agents, and they are all running ads for 3 months. Okay. They're all running $50 ads, $50 and $75 ads, right? Only for homes that are open house, just listed, and active for sale. Because 1, those are the cheapest leads. They're cheaper than sold leads, right? And they know some percentage of those people actually own homes. So they're doing that every week, and they're holding open houses, and they're talking to more people. That's the thing, right? In your business, you got to have more transactions. That means you got to talk to more people. Here's the story here, guys. And this is, I don't want to blow you away on this. They've been doing this for 3 months between 5 people, and combined, they've spent $900 a month. Okay. Not each agent, right? Altogether, $900 a month. And they've done this for 3 months. And they have generated 927 leads in 3 months, name, email, and phone number, running ads just like I'm showing you here. Okay. They have got 2 of those people pre-approved and into a home in less than 3 months. And they have 4 more people pre-approved looking for homes right now. This is in Texas. That's 6 people who are going to purchase homes off of spending $2,800 on Facebook ads and holding open houses. Okay. So that's, if you want like the numbers and see that, and I have a little write-up on that, email me at Vince at Listings to Leads. If you have questions, about that. Can you hear me here? Did we lose everybody? That was like a rough, give me just a second here, guys. I got kicked out while I was middle of talking. Are there any questions? That's really what I wanted to come back for. Are there any questions? We've talked about a lot of things. Okay, cool, good, Cam. Glad to hear that. Are there any questions for you guys here? Sorry about that. I got my computer kicked me out of this thing. One thing I usually say at the beginning, but I definitely want to make sure everybody knows this one. Is everybody here a client? Let me ask that question. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. I got kicked off. If you're a client, make sure and get in our mastermind group. And I'm going to send this to you right now. Click on this link. You do have to get approved, but all of our clients are here and they're sharing things, you know, on this page, right? And this is our mastermind group. It's a private group, and I'm going to, you'll see this link. Write down these names: Pat Motley and Chris Winstead. We talked about we talked about Pat and we talked about Chris. But also, you know, there's a call here. Let's see, that I type in these names quite a lot, so let's see if they'll do it. Things slowing down here. Let's just open it up for questions. It looks like my monitor's really dragging here. Are there any questions about the platform or anything I've talked about? Sorry about that cock up there. Let's see if we can pull up Brian real fast. Just a reminder. Oh yeah, these are the names. Craig Johnson is the guy that just did the 927 leads with 4 agents. Pat Motley has a nearby homeowner letter I spoke about. Dustin is another guy that has leaned, Dustin Fox, on our nearby homeowner letter. You know, you can learn by just looking at what these guys have been talking about, and it's in the mastermind group. You now have a link to the mastermind group. Definitely get there, you know, and it will be on our YouTube channel. So please, I think our YouTube channel, you know, is one of the greatest resources that we have, because every call that we do, every class is recorded, and you spend some time here to learn what's in this platform because you want your business to grow. So get on this videos page, get on our live classes when your schedule allows. And I don't see any more questions. Looks like things are rough on the internet right now. So have a great week, everybody. We'll talk soon.